Ever been told to ignore her back when she's playing hard to get? It's a piece of advice that's been passed down from generation to generation. The logic seems sound, right? If she's ignoring you, then surely the best way to grab her attention is by doing the same. However, let's take a moment to consider this. When you ignore someone, you create a silent gap, a void filled with uncertainty and confusion. It's like tossing a hot potato back and forth, hoping the other person will finally catch it. But what happens when both of you refuse to catch that potato? It falls to the ground, and the game ends abruptly. Similarly, when you ignore her back, you're not resolving the situation. Instead, you're just adding more layers of misunderstanding. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. You might think you're fighting fire with fire, but all you're really doing is making the flames grow larger. So, ignoring her back might not be the best strategy after all. Now let's turn to a wise sage for some guidance. Picture this sage as an old yet spry character, full of life and humor. He's seen it all, experienced it all, and now he's here, ready to share his pearls of wisdom with us. He chuckles, and in a voice as smooth as silk, he begins. The key to understanding the intricate dance of attraction, he says, is not to ignore or retaliate, but to understand and respond with wisdom. He leans in, a twinkle in his eye. You see, her silence is not a rejection, but a test. She's watching to see if you'll crack under pressure or remain calm and composed. He leans back, stroking his imaginary beard. So, when she's playing hard to get, rise to the challenge. Show her you're made of sterner stuff. Show her patience, understanding, and most importantly, respect. He concludes with a nod. Remember, wisdom is the foundation of successful relationships. Ever caught yourself building castles in the air? We've all been there, haven't we? We meet someone intriguing and suddenly we're picturing candlelit dinners and walks on the beach. But let me stop you right there. This is where the danger lies, in the realm of unrealistic expectations. Imagine a seesaw. On one side you have your lofty expectations, and on the other, the stark reality. The higher your expectations soar, the harder reality crashes down. The result? Disappointment and frustration. And let's not forget, the higher you build that castle in the air, the longer the fall when it comes crashing down. It's the same in relationships. When you expect her to behave a certain way and she doesn't, you're setting yourself up for a fall. Remember, she's a person, not a character in your fantasy. So, it's best to keep your expectations in check. Feeling like a hermit? Well, it's time to break that shell. It's important to remember that life isn't just about chasing love, it's also about enjoying the ride. And part of that ride is embracing social interactions. The world is full of interesting people, and you never know who you might meet when you step out of your comfort zone. So, dust off those old hobbies that once brought you joy. You might be surprised at how much they can help you regain your sense of self. And while you're at it, why not make some new friends? Engaging with others can offer a refreshing perspective and serve as a distraction from your current situation. But remember, this isn't just about distraction, it's about growth. It's about realizing that you are more than your romantic pursuits, and that you have a life that's worth living outside of them. So, go out there and start living it. Remember, there's a whole world out there waiting for you. Ever thought of making her jealous? Now don't get me wrong, we're not talking about tormenting someone or playing mind games here. This is about showing that you're a catch, and you're not just sitting around waiting for her attention. When you mingle with others, particularly those who are attractive and engaging, it does a couple of things. Firstly, it boosts your self-confidence, and let me tell you, there's nothing more attractive than a confident person. It's like a magnet that draws people in. Secondly, it subtly shows her that you're not exclusively devoted to her. It's a little nudge to her ego, reminding her that you're someone desirable, and she's not the only one who can see that. But remember, this isn't about manipulation. It's about showing that you're someone who's comfortable in his own skin, who enjoys the company of others, and isn't afraid to show it. So, play the jealousy game wisely. Ever considered becoming the teacher? Now, I'm not suggesting you pull out a chalkboard and start lecturing, but consider this. By teaching your new partner about your expectations and boundaries, you're setting a clear path for your relationship. This doesn't mean you're dictating terms, but rather, you're inviting a two-way conversation about what each of you wants and needs. This approach is not only refreshing but also quite attractive. It shows you're not afraid to communicate, to lead, and to be upfront. It's a display of confidence, maturity, and emotional intelligence, traits that are highly appealing to quality individuals. By stepping into the role of a teacher, you're also demonstrating leadership qualities which are key in any relationship. It shows that you're not just a passenger, but a driver. Someone capable of steering the relationship in the right direction. So, don't be afraid to step up and become the teacher. Let's recap what we've learned today. First, we debunked the myth of ignoring her back, underlining that it isn't as effective as it might seem. We then met our wise sage who emphasized the importance of wise decision-making in navigating the mystery of female behavior. We discussed the dangers of having unrealistic expectations in relationships, which can lead to self-isolation. Next, we encouraged you to break the silence, to rediscover your hobbies and make new friends. We warned you about the trap of becoming a doormat when she contacts you for favors, and highlighted the strategy of making her jealous to boost your self-confidence. We talked about the value of teaching new partners and prioritizing personal goals and self-improvement. Remember, even in challenging circumstances, projecting a positive image and being the best version of yourself is key. Don't let anyone's game of hard to get diminish your self-worth, and remember, you are worth more than a game of hard to get.